start doing anything of actual meaning. So it's asking me to rotate the device. So I'll sit up here. Christ. Right. So it's been quite a while since I've done anything in this channel, and that's there are several reasons for it. And I thought I'd sort of stream for a bit now to sort of explain it. I don't know how well you can hear me out my phone. It could suck for all I know. But it's been far too long since I've uploaded anything, and I'm having probably a really, like, not a very good night in terms of, like, just general feelings and stuff like that. So I thought I'd occupy myself at the same time and answer questions and do a sort of live show in some sense. I can see viewers building up now, so this is pretty good. I mean, I haven't uploaded in a year and a half, so who knows how well this is gonna go. I I'm just gonna leave all the live comments available for me to see. So comment whatever you want, essentially, and I'll try and answer the questions. So yeah, I guess the question is, what have I actually been doing? Right. So one of the answers to these questions, the primary thing that I have been doing is I've been at university. Now this isn't exactly an excuse for the whole time I've been away, because I did have to go through college for about half of last year, so and I haven't uploaded since about February, January, something like that. So it isn't fully an excuse I can use. But university has taken up a decent part of my life, and it's changed it quite significantly in some ways. So yeah, in case you're wondering, I ended up doing politics essentially. Um, yeah, so I ended up doing that at university and tried my best at that, and then had to um, drop out. Sort of. It's a weird one. I basically took the decision to drop out before and restart the year next year before anything really would cause me to fail, essentially, because I wasn't really in the right state of mind to be at university, which is something I was told multiple times actually. Um, it becomes more apparent when you actually get into these big social situations and these big academic situations and situations where you essentially have to fend off for yourself. It becomes how apparent inexperience and some sort of like social problems you have. It becomes very apparent which ones you have, and how bad they can actually be. And I learned that in the first couple of months of uni, and it wasn't a particularly great experience in some extents, and it was a great experience uh, in other ways. I don't want to fully go into exactly what happened at university and the sort of stuff that I did there, because some of it, like, don't really want to talk about on stream. I guess it's not necessarily that it's bad. It's just that there's some stuff um, which I sort of just want to keep to myself for the time being, which I might talk about later. But yeah, if you've got comments, try and keep some of them coming, because I actually want to interact a little bit. I've got a comment that says, "Do you like Tool or Perfect Circle?" I, funnily enough, I don't think I've listened to Tool before, but I don't think I've ever listened to them to the point where I've decided to add their music to my playlist or anything, if that's what you mean. And Perfect Circle, I think I've heard of them, but I haven't really listened to anything. But yeah, yeah, I would like to hear some comments. This is essentially, as I used to do before, my way of trying to keep my mind off of certain things. See, I've got a job interview tomorrow. McDonald's, funnily enough, and I probably should be like sleeping, to be fair, but I just can't. So I'll stay on this for the next hour or so and see how it goes. When's the next narration gonna be up? I don't know. I haven't got my PC. My PC's still up at uni, the town where I went to university at. So I'm only gonna be able to access that in October, I think. So it's gonna be a while if I decide to actually upload any narrations. Um, and to be fair, like the motivation to do narrations completely left over about a year ago. Um, and when I had university sort of stuff get in the way as well, I mean, I didn't have motivation to do some of my coursework, let alone do uh, YouTube videos, and I was paying for that. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I would like to do them again. I've been watching videos such as Nightmare Expo, and Night Mind, and some of the stuff they've been doing is it feels as if it's a natural progression to horror story narration, sort of like more urban myth type stuff and very detailed analysis of types of video series and ARG and certain types of stories. That seems like it's a better sort of content to do than the typical creepypasta narration. Because creepypasta narration has been done to death, to be fair with you. And I don't really know what much I can add to it. I mean, I would like to do sort of more SCP stories, I guess, but I I feel as if it's sort of low effort. That's the problem. Is I never really wanted to upload stuff that was low effort. I wanted to upload stuff that was well, I'd be proud of. But it came to the point where I was uploading to keep to a schedule at some point. And while I was putting in lots of work to get these videos up, it felt as if I was sort of scraping at the bottom of the barrel for some of them. So you see some of these like 6 best true stories, camping stories, all this other stuff. They have quantity. They have quite a few stories in there. They have some notable narrators in there, who, funnily enough, some of them have actually become very successful. Who had less subscribers than me at the time, which congratulations to them because that's pretty impressive. Um, but those videos were never something which I really wanted to continue doing, and it's really been the case with a lot of the stuff that's become popular on my channel. Like on my channel, I used to upload sort of meme type videos on my creepypasta one. And what ended up happening with that is that everyone just came for the meme videos. And while it was funny, the sort of content that I made on there was not something I wanted people to see, especially as I sort of grew a little bit older. And it's the same sort of situation with some of the list videos. Is it feels like clickbait. It feels like I'm clickbaiting people. To an extent, it is clickbait. I mean, it's high effort clickbait. I think it's high effort clickbait, but it's literally just a random assortment of stories where there's a specific theme that I've plucked out of nowhere. And this is the same with most narrators, and I don't mean to sort of diminish sort of like the efforts of some narrators, but when people make the sort of 10 disturbing true story videos, they're doing it because it's a very popular thing to do. Like, it's much more profitable for people, and it's a lot better in terms of getting views and subscribers to do 10 mediocre stories than one really good story. And that's been the case for since 2016 now. I remember when I was able to upload creepypasta stories and they'd get maybe 10,000 views or something like that after a couple of months on my relatively small channel. But what ended up happening with that is it just became unpopular because the market got so saturated. And every story that I tried to narrate either was in a scary true stories compilation, it was uploaded by a bigger narrator, and all this sort of stuff. So it didn't feel like I was doing something original. It felt as if I was doing something unoriginal. And while I added my own spin to it, because of course each narration and each narrator has their own specific way of speaking, their own specific way of narrating, and specific videos that they make, it just didn't feel as if I was making a YouTube video which I wanted to show people. It felt as if I was making a YouTube video to sort of keep up an audience, to keep an audience happy. And while I did want to keep an audience happy, it didn't make me happy necessarily. I'm back. What's happening? I'm here. What's happening? Essentially a live stream where I've decided about 1 o'clock. Christ. Sorry about that. Where I've decided at about 1 o'clock in the morning, to start streaming, because I feeling kind of miserable, to be fair with you. So I'm sort of trying to like keep my mind occupied. Um, so I thought I've got this channel which has 8,900 subs, something like that, and I haven't uploaded in a year and a half. who better to speak to than people who used to watch my videos? So I guess that's the way to do it. I honestly don't know how many viewers I can actually attract into these. It probably will be under 10, to be fair with you. I mean, I'm sort of expecting it. I mean, I'd say like the video if it helps with it, but I don't know. I mean, just do what you want essentially. I'm not gonna monetize this or anything, or at least if it is monetized, that's not my intention anyway. Um, but yeah, that was essentially what I ended up doing. I ended up not uploading because I just felt as if there wasn't originality in it anymore. Like my favorite videos that I made were some of the list videos actually, such as the scariest videos on the internet type thing and 4chan threads, that sort of thing. But like, it was very difficult to make something original. Like I said, what I had to end up doing was write longer scripts with more detail in them. And while that was fine to do because I really enjoyed actually giving more detail about specific events and stuff like that, it wasn't particularly like it didn't particularly add anything new. It just felt as if I was stretching out stuff. And while I did legitimately think I put more effort in than some of the bigger narrators who put more stories into it, for example, the top five disturbing videos video that got about 100,000 views or something like that, and I legitimately tried to find stuff that people hadn't put in those videos, in other videos, and I added maybe one or two in there which were creepypasta based stuff, and I did get accused of copying people for some reason. I got accused of copying. I honestly can't remember some of the bigger like the bigger sort of like horror channels names now. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't watch them. Um, but I got accused of copying some of those people, and it was irritating. But I never let it get to me. But in the end, it did just feel as if I was doing what everyone else was doing, and even if I did feel as if I was doing a good job, I just wasn't really enriching necessarily. It was enriching in terms of the views. If I kept up with it, I'm sure I could have kept up and got 100,000 subscribers and made money off of it. But I mean, to be fair, I probably should have done that, but I just didn't feel as if I could have. Why not do scary hillbillies? Because I don't read creepypasta stories anymore or horror story stuff anymore, so I don't really like. I might look into it again once I've got my PC back, and I might try because I don't think I've really. I think I would be able to provide good narrations. I think, um, but currently I'm just I haven't really got the tools for it, and I haven't really got the motivation for it. Like currently, the best thing that I need to do is get myself a job and work on my mental health essentially, because that's become a bit of an issue. Um, let's read some comments. Do what makes you happy, and don't let video making control your other activities. Just because your channel name doesn't mean you have to make a certain jump. That's true. I did try and make political videos at some point, but people didn't like them, so I didn't really go ahead with it. I did make a video about YouTube's content, like policies and stuff, and that did very well actually. And people seem to appreciate that sort of content. But like, there's only so much of that you can do. I mean, H3H3 is a great example of someone who had to branch out apart from like his YouTube is dying sort of videos because it became a bit of a meme at some point. I remember. Um, I, I've had ideas of sort of videos I've wanted to do. I've thought of doing some like in real life sort of horror based short film type stuff, like brainstorming ideas for it, but I've never really brought that past just thinking about it. I mean, there's been times in which I've thought of writing down scripts for certain like horror shows to write for myself or certain TV type audio dramas. Like I was gonna do sort of spin-offs to certain TV series and like get narrators in and do that sort of thing. But I need to bridge the gap between what is considered decent content and what's just considered shitty fan fiction because I'm don't know how capable of a writer I am. I know I can write. I don't know how well I am at forming ideas onto paper though. so it's a bit of a difficult one. But I mean, I'd be willing to look into that, to be fair. But that's if I get the motivation to do it. I see the viewers are dropping from like about 6 to 4, which I mean, eh, that's fine. I think people are sort of expecting me to show my face. I might have put that in the title beforehand, but I didn't really want to, because like if I do end up doing this again, I don't know whether the illusion of sort of like the narrator voice is gonna go. Um, Thank you, I appreciate that. It would be an interesting idea, I think. It's just whether I can find the motivation to do so. Whether I can. The thing is that I'm not someone who writes a lot. I write essays and stuff because, well, on subjects that I know in university and stuff, but I, I don't write fiction anymore. I did write fiction at some point. I wrote Star Wars fan fiction, which I was very happy with, but I was happy with it for reasons that weren't necessarily narrative reasons. I was happy with it because of the idea of the story. I liked the idea of having a spin off set just after Order 66 with like a story between a Jedi sort of turning to the dark side, which was supposed to be sort of like the next installment to it. Yeah, so the first one, it was a bit of a task to do, but I was actually quite happy with the idea of doing those sorts of things, but I wasn't particularly great at writing it. All I did really was start essentially putting down ideas onto paper and just going with the first draft that I essentially wrote. I mean, I reworked some of it, but most of the stuff that I did with it is the changes I made was in post when I would record it. I I don't know if I'd call that post. In production, when I would record it and then editing it in post. Now, editing stuff in post for me, and this is another reason why I stopped narrating. Net editing took too much time. Um, if you ever look back at any of my videos, you'll notice in some of them that you won't hear a lot of breathing in them. And the reason for which is mainly because I cut out a lot of it because I was using so many different takes. I was cutting out so many different parts of audio. Like, there's parts of videos in which I splice different takes together, and it's hardly noticeable. And I remember being so satisfied with that, and it was quite interesting to do, I think. Um, but eventually got tedious. It got to the point where I was having like 20-minute recordings for 4-minute stories, and I just remember like the disappointment when I would edit something and I'd notice it was going down to about 3 minutes. And I'm realizing that I've just completely cocked up a story and I've cut up the remaining parts of it. It's like I've taken the like someone's knocked down a building and I've taken the bricks and tried to rebuild it and used sellotape as a way to sort of put together. That isn't a great example at all, but you understand what I'm saying. It wasn't a very good way of doing it. It didn't feel natural. People wondered how I never made mistakes in my videos, and it's because they were all edited heavily. Um, that doesn't mean that I'm necessarily a bad narrator, I don't think. It's just that I got to the point where I was too perfectionist with things in which it got to the where I essentially couldn't record something just on its own. And when it came to heavy recordings as well, um, when it came to like sort of like recordings as well, it, it was difficult because whenever I'd keep a sort of long train of thought when narrating, whenever I wouldn't make an error, I could like I would always feel myself getting out of breath and like my hands slowly going numb. And I would not stop because I keep a rhythm to it. But when I did mess up, I messed up and it was difficult to sort of like get back onto it. It came to a point where I felt as if I was messing up every few sentences or every sentence where I'd be taking multiple takes. I did a Fallout story, which I advertised quite a while back. And the Fallout story was supposed to be comprised of just a bunch of segments within the vault that I'd set it in, and essentially the Vault's progression into ghoulification over the Vault Tech experiments. And what ended up happening with that is that I recorded about 2.5 hours of audio. The story probably comes to about 25 minutes at most. Now, I actually edited most of it. I've edited most of it, and most of it is actually on my PC. Um, but this was like 2 years ago. This was over 2 years ago in which I was editing this and recording this. I think I recorded this like just after the announcement of Fallout 4, or at least I wrote it. I started writing it just after the announcement of Fallout 4, and I think I started recording it just after the release of Fallout 4. So that story has been on the cutting room floor for about 2 years now, and that is the epitome of how bad I was at narrating, if I'm honest with you. It was just full of different takes and how much I just couldn't be happy with a specific recording. So it did get sort of obsessive compulsive at some point, and obviously I'm not saying that I've got obsessive compulsive, but I'm just using a sort of example. So it got sort of difficult. Why not write about college life? Um, because it, it wouldn't necessarily be interesting. You wouldn't hear a lot of interesting stories. You might hear about nights out and stuff like that, but there's nothing really interesting apart from maybe 2 nights. But the 2 nights that are the most interesting nights I had at university aren't nights which I can talk about on here without sort of like uh I suppose making myself like that I'm not comfortable speaking about, I guess. But are you trying to keep the creep stories going, or is this because you want to keep it creepy in general? Um, Wait, let me read that again. Uh, okay, are you trying to keep the creep stories going on, or is this because you want to keep it creepy in general? Um, I don't really know the question too well. Um, Based on the channel name, the creep stories going. See, it's gonna be weird if I do try to transition from creepy stories, to like creepy video type stuff. Like, because the channel has Creepreads in the name, it's sort of like held down to narration stuff, but that doesn't really mean anything because I can change it. It's not as bad as my old channel though, in which it was called Creeppasta. And I mean, to be fair, I did sort of break the creepypasta barrier with that one, but I sort of hit a onion ceiling. If I'm not gonna clarify what that means, you'll just have to guess it yourself. Um, but I sort of like hit that with it, and I couldn't really break past it because people just wanted to come back for the same thing over and over again, which was memes. And the meme videos were successful. And to be fair with you, I probably should have just changed that video channel into a meme channel and then used this one as a narration channel. But looking in retrospect doesn't really mean anything, does it? So I focused all my energy into this channel originally. I built it up, got a decent audience from it, and I was quite happy with it, if I'm honest. It's probably one of the biggest achievements I've ever made is my YouTube channels. Like it's always like something that comes up whenever I speak to people. It when I start when you start dating someone and they find out about your YouTube channel, it's either frightening or funny, because you don't know how people are gonna react. But it's quite an interesting topic to talk about, and it's the one thing I can say that I legitimately thought I was talented at. Apart from me mentioning before that I really slowly got worse at it because I got more perfectionist as I went along. Um, let's read some of the comments. What happened to that channel? Did you give that one away? I did give that one away. Yeah, I gave that away to my friend. Yeah. I would recommend going to his channel and see if you like his content. It's not for everyone, but I mean, I thought I'd do him a favor essentially. Because I wasn't using the channel, so I decided to give it to him. This is one of my friends from a while ago, from since middle school. So I mean, it did feel a bit weird getting rid of the channel. I still all the videos are still on the channel, and I will download them once I get my PC back, and I'll probably create an archive of them, because I don't want to lose all those videos. And if I do end up losing all those videos, that's going to be quite the disappointment. Um, so more creepy stories ripped from Reddit or something. I mean, that that's fair. I mean, I could do that. It's just at some point I just really got sick of horror stories from Reddit. Like, I read enough of them to know where a lot of them were going. I mean, there's few exceptions to it. In some stories which legitimately do take you in certain directions, but you get an idea of it, and some of the stories don't end properly as well. Like, you'll read a story and you'll find out that a part two has came out like the next week or something. So it's difficult to keep up with. But I mean, I'm just making excuses here, really, for me not wanting to narrate Reddit stories. But who knows? Maybe at some point I'll get back into it. It'll take the right push to get back into it, and I think that I'll need to sort of like reevaluate how I manage a YouTube channel and what I actually do on the YouTube channel and how frequent I upload. But I'll look into it. I won't completely leave everyone in the dark, because it doesn't seem like a really nice thing to do, to just leave everyone in the dark about it. And I've been doing that for quite a while. Creepy stories from around the world in different times. Now, it's quite interesting, because one thing I'm actually really interested in is urban legends and urban myths, and I've always enjoyed those sort of things. So, like, one of the videos that I enjoyed doing was Mothman, and funnily enough, they're bringing Mothman into Fallout 76, which I'm quite happy about. And I really enjoyed that because of just the idea of the urban legend of it. Um, I like the idea of like collectively everyone seeing the same thing, or like not seeing the same thing but spotting something, and creating their own sort of like monster which people legitimately believe in, that isn't necessarily created for a certain type of medium, such as film or television. Because you have things such as I guess Freddy Krueger, Jason, and you have monsters in movies and television. But there's something about urban myths which has, while I don't believe most of the stories, there's a certain glimpse of reality to it which really grabs me by the balls, essentially, and keeps me interested. So I would like to do urban myth stuff, I think. But only so many urban myths going around, because they are phenomenons, essentially. Um, but there's a lot of them, I guess. And some of them come and go. And some of the urban myths aren't necessarily even supernatural. Some of them are about serial killers, some of them are about murderers, and some of them are about disappearances and stuff. And like, if anyone does have any of those urban myth type things to send to me for me to read, my email address is still on my channel, and I usually check. Uh, I occasionally check my email address. Oh, funny enough, I've missed it. All right, I'll tell you about a missed opportunity, which really is probably one of the worst things I've ever missed out on in my YouTube career. So I got an email by a YouTube channel called Top 15s. This was about 2 years ago, and I didn't check my email address until 3 weeks after they had emailed me. They essentially offered me a paid narration role in their channel. Top 15s had at the time about 1,300,000 subscribers, and yeah, it was a bit heartbreaking, to be fair, because I missed out on a really good opportunity to make a bit of money and essentially narrate without having to sort of find my own stories and be happy with my narrations on another channel where people have put in a decent amount of effort to sort of put something up. So I thought that would have been a good thing, but yeah, it never actually happened. Ever think about doing some videos on some messed up conspiracies? I do find conspiracy theories interesting as well. Um, what's your thoughts on Burger King foot lettuce? I had no idea what that means. um, yeah, I like conspiracy theories. Not as much as probably my dad does, but I like conspiracy theories in the same way I like urban myths because I feel as if they're cut from the same cloth. Um, Hello, thank you, Cryptic. I appreciate the comment. I'm trying my best to sort of like interact with people and sort of answer questions and stuff. So if anyone has any questions they want to ask me after a long time, just put them down there. I'm gonna be streaming for the next hour or so. Maybe a little bit more depending on how well this goes because I just want to interact with people. I've not been having the best night, if I'm honest with you. Like, let's just say I take antidepressants and I don't think they're working. So, yeah, I'm trying to find an alternative solution, which is on a live stream. So, 7 viewers, which is decent. If you, like I said, any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try and read them. I'm gonna look through some now. So I'm on break, going back to work. Hope you find what you like to. All right. I'll see you in a bit then. Urban legends are always interesting. Oh, I see. Top 15 is what you're. Yeah, you're gonna have to explain the king foot letters things I don't understand. Um, but yeah, so in case you're wondering what my situation is now, I am back in my original house, or I've been living since I was a kid, and I am back from university after intercalation, essentially, which is dropping out to improve on mental health and go back in October, which I'm gonna have my own house, which I'm quite happy about. So maybe I could do videos, maybe. And thank you, I appreciate that. Ion242. Yeah, it's been ages. It's been a long time. This is sort of like a sudden thing I decided to do because I was downstairs, sort of like with my head in my hands, thinking just how I felt so uncomfortable. So I needed to do something. Okay, well, that was just a meme from the. I don't watch top 15s. To be fair with you, I don't think I could really like cope with the disappointment afterwards. I watched some top 15s videos, but it's like watching. I suppose it's like watching the girl you had a crush on with some other dude. I guess. I mean, it's nice to see them, I guess, but like it's never. It doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to be that dude. I'm trying to come up with analogies or sort of like metaphors for this. Let's see comments. Uh, Maybe your house will be haunted. You can make vids on that. Well, I fucking hope not, but if it is, then I'll be sure to take advantage of it. Best thing that helps my depression is to be aware when I feel like that and know when I start to feel the way I know. It's just there in my brain to be a reminder to help others go through. That's a fair enough way to think about it. See, I, I, I find it difficult, um, because like I often feel as if I'm really just ungrateful for my situation, and while it's my situation isn't necessarily the best, like it could be worse, I suppose. I mean, I'm not rich, I'm actually very poor, but it does feel a little bit like selfish, and that's one of the things that I fought for years about it. Is I always never talked about it because it really just felt as if, and the first video I made on it was, it had Rayman gameplay in the background in 2015, 2016, I think. And I remember talking about it for the first time, and that was such a tense video to put up because it's something which I've been thinking for a long time. I wasn't diagnosed. I am diagnosed now. I've been diagnosed multiple times. But like it was, you go to I'm supposed to be getting therapy soon. The thing is that the NHS takes a long time to get back to you, and I need to get this done before going back to uni. So it's getting a bit close to call. Sorry, as you probably covered this early on before taking a break from college. Were you studying? I was studying politics with a minor in history and philosophy. The minor in philosophy and history was a mistake. Anyway, like To be fair, the highest grade I ever got on a marked piece of work was in philosophy, but that was because I was on Discord with a couple of friends and we were brainstorming ideas. Probably one of my favorite essays I've ever written, mainly because I had fun while doing it. But philosophy just wasn't for me, and history, parts of it for me. I don't have that much of a passion for it to really get into. I have a passion for politics. Actually, you'll find this interesting. I'm supposed to be getting work experience soon. I think I'm supposed to be getting work experience at the House of Commons. Because my local MP has responded to me, and said that she'd be happy to take me on for work experience and like will give me days soon, which is exciting. So I'm gonna have to probably stay at a hostel in London. So that's gonna be fun, sharing a dorm with a bunch of people who I don't know. But then again, I went to uni, so I'm used to it. uh, I see. You go to. All right, already answered that question. But yeah, no. I study politics, yeah. So I'm gonna beforehand I studied applied science, which got me into university. And when I go back, I'm gonna take two minors in criminology and psychology, not to carry on for, but because I know how to basically work with psychology and criminology because I studied them for 2 years. I've got somewhat of a educational background to an extent in it. So I'll be able to excel probably from that. And all my politics coursework in the first year, I did all of it, and I got C's and above, something like that. Yeah. So it wasn't too bad. Definitely could have been worse. I was quite happy in the end, I think. Because if we were just going by my politics work, I probably would have passed a year if I was doing specifically politics. But hey, you live and learn. I'll go back to university and try my best to succeed this time. Everyone sort of has hiccups, and I had to go to university to actually learn how severe some of my issues were socially. I'm not gonna bring up some of them, because like I don't really want to sort of define myself by issues, I guess. Like I've got some things that they said in therapy which I could repeat, but I don't know. Let me see the comments. Not bad. Good luck with continuing. Thank you. What type of work are you looking to do after uni? I don't know. I don't know, honestly. That's what I'm hoping to sort of like learn when I do work experience with an MP in the UK, which MP would be about the equivalent to a senator or a senator, probably about the equivalent to a senator in the US if you're from the US, or if you're from Europe, you'll know what a member of parliament is. But yeah, that's what I'm sort of like hoping to learn from that, and also it'll be great on my CV to say that I shadowed an MP in the House of Commons, especially if you're doing politics. But yeah, I guess from that point, I was maybe a personal assistant. Maybe I'll be a party assistant. I can't see myself becoming a natural politician because I don't think I've got it in me to do it. I don't think my skin is thick enough for it either. To be fair, I hardly know how I managed to get through YouTube. YouTube really did sort of like give me a thicker skin over the years, though. I remember when I started it, it's quite yeah quite thin, but eventually got better. But politics is just a bit too much because I don't like the idea of being hated regardless of what I do. And that's gonna happen in politics if I end up going into it. So, you see, those depression thoughts are there for motivation and a reminder of concern that you have. Use it to help you and don't let it drain you. Just put the thoughts aside. I mean, I'll certainly try. I guess it's easier said than done, I suppose, but I'll certainly try my best. I mean, I'm still here. I don't have suicidal thoughts or anything, or at least I don't have serious I don't have serious suicidal thoughts at all really. So I'm fine. It's just generally mood stopping me doing things and stopping me looking forward to things, and it happens occasionally, and I don't like talking about it necessarily. I mean, I'll do it on the live stream because
it's good to explain why I've been gone because like there's a bunch of issues and now I don't feel as if I'm playing the victim necessarily because like I always felt as if I was like playing a victim whenever I talk about it before I ended up going to a counselor. Um, and ever since I went to the counselor, it sort of opened my eyes a little bit to the idea that some issues actually do exist. And a lot of people have similar issues, and I need to find a way to deal with it. Um, the if I want to say something a bit honest, night times have been difficult. Um, it's been difficult because I basically have nothing which I'm to do, so I'm sat here basically alone thinking, and it's not always great. And boredom doesn't help either because boredom causes more sort of like stress for some reason. I don't know. It's a strange one. I'm gonna read some comments. Um, until useful. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, everyone leave me a question if you're just came in and you've got any questions, and even if it's a question I've answered before, I'll still answer it for you, albeit probably very quickly. But just say what you want to say, and if you've got honestly like if you have anything like any stories or anything which or urban legends and stuff that you want me to read or anything, go and send it to my email. I won't always read stuff. Like I used to say before that I will check everyone's emails and my email address, but frankly, that isn't true. Because I won't say I haven't got the time to do so, but it's not on my mind a lot of the time. Um, See, I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to do the whole like since I don't do YouTube anymore, I'm trying to do the whole honesty thing because you'll notice a lot of YouTubers aren't really that honest. And I've I've spoken to quite a few YouTubers in my day, and it's so bizarre how different people are on Skype compared to what they're like in their YouTube channels. I'm not gonna name drop any names, but like I had some really good friends who were completely different. So let's check the comments. Dogs or cats? I have both. I wanna say I wanna say cats because cats don't bark every single time I'm outside. I'm outside the garden, or I come into the door. But like dogs are nice as well. I think I've got two dogs and two cats. So thank you, I appreciate that. I'm hoping for the best for me as well. And if you're struggling through stuff as well, then you too. I mean, some of the nicest comments I got on my videos is that, and like, like some of the nicest comments I ever got on my YouTube videos and live streams and other stuff like that. And it was people telling me that I helped them through being depressed. And I had quite a few people tell me that, and you don't really sort of like realize just how much that means until you get a little bit older. Because when I had people saying it to me when I was 17, 18, even though I did sort of feel this sort of thing, like, you sort of take it in stride a little bit. Like, you appreciate it, but I've started to appreciate it a lot more over the years because, like, I understand that, and a lot of people are like, feel a lot worse than others. So, like, I understand what it's like, I guess, for some people. And I'm glad I was able to make videos which people legitimately did think were great, and did enjoy and occupied their time with and made them feel better. And although the stories weren't mine, I like to think I made them mine in a sense because every narration, I guess, requires a certain type of acting to get from the script to the screen or the script to the to the recording. And if I did a good job in that and it made people legitimately happy, then like, what else can I say? That's probably the best thing I did with my YouTube channel. And that's always sort of been like the goal of my YouTube channel. See, a lot of YouTubers like to say that they don't do their channel for money, and I can legitimately say that I didn't do my channel for money. A lot of the time. I mean, there were times in which I certainly took advantage of the idea of doing it for money, but I really wanted an audience. I liked people coming over and watching the videos and enjoying them and the feedback I got off of them. Some of it was sort of maybe like a little bit of egocentrism, but there was also a place where I just really appreciated people coming to my videos and enjoying them themselves, and I felt as if it was sort of a duty to an extent. So when people comment on my videos asking where new things are and saying to me that they want new videos and in general trying to basically ask when a new video is coming out, I feel bad every single time, and I don't feel bad because oh I can make so much money off of these people. I feel bad because people enjoyed the videos and it feels as if there was a type of duty, if you understand what I'm saying. Like I built up his channel and I ended up sort of just ditching it without any explanation. And I mean my last video was far from my best video. Um, so there was a lot left to be desired. I mean I probably in the future will make another video. If someone comes to me with a, and also like I think that I would be able to make better videos now than I used to. I think I'd really be able to take advantage of stock footage and audio. Um, and I started to sort of play around with that near the end of me doing YouTube. And I only did it in very simple ways because the recording would take so long that I'd exhaust myself out in the editing stage. So I wouldn't do anything really creative. So it did get to the point where slapping music on it was a sort of thing, and I remember when people used to do that all the time back in the creepypasta community. Like the most notable thing you'll notice about all of the smaller narrators is that they use the same songs, and I remember getting sick of it. It got, it just got to the point where it was so unoriginal that I'd hear the same Mayu song and everything it put into the videos that at some point I just ended up just trying to use ambience music. Like ambience music became sort of like my favorite go-to thing. And Coag music was a god in terms of this sort of thing. Like his ambience type soundtracks, because they weren't exactly ambience, but they sounded as if they had sort of an atmosphere to them, which was just perfect fitting for horror. And it was slow build up in some of them. There was just a like a light buzzing in the background with sort of like a build up of different types of instruments, and this was great, and it was much better to me than the over dramatic sort of soundtracks that people would use in typical creepypasta videos, and you'll see that being done by Mr. Creepypasta as his progression of his videos is that he'll start using sort of more creative ways to add music to it and more creative ways to add atmosphere and tension. And I think that's what separates like bad videos from good videos. Like you can have a fairly serviceable narration, right? But it really takes the right atmosphere to really make the video. And sometimes what I would do is I would just put in music because like I was exhausted and I think, this works. But once you get the right piece of music for something after scouring through about 10, 15 different songs, it's very satisfying. So I'm gonna go check comments now because I haven't checked them in a while. 17, 18. How old were you when you started the channel and how old are you now? Your videos are cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. I got the impression that even bigger channels, post Adpocalypse, got really hard. If I were to start a channel, I'd primarily be for my own amusement and, like you said, interaction with audience. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Adpocalypse really did cause issues. The problem is that creepypasta, I it's always been something which I've sort of been on the fence about in term not creepypasta specifically, but some stories I've always been on the fence about. Um, Actually, before I go into this, I'll answer how like when I started the channel and how old I am now. When I started creepypasta, I was I was 15, I think. It was 2012, so this was. Ross trying to do maths now. This was about 6 years ago. Um, yeah, this would have been over 6 years ago, so um, I would have been 15. Yeah, I would have just turned 15. Um, I'm 21 now. Yeah, quite old. But yeah, in terms of narrations, the idea of stories and using other people's stories got to the point where it was it got to the point where it was getting a bit worrying because it was difficult to draw the line between what was fair use or not, especially when it came to creepypasta narrations. Now, in my personal opinion, if you post something on the internet on a public forum and you expect it to not be reused on different platforms and not be posted elsewhere, and you haven't taken out a copyright on it or you haven't taken out some sort of protection on it, then I don't know what to say to you. I think that the use of it is especially in the sense of narrations, like copying and pasting a story to a different website. Now I can understand why that might be a problem, but like in terms of people narrating it from Reddit, from Creepypasta Wiki and stuff like that, like I can understand how it can be transformative because I legitimately think it is. I think there's a certain aspect of the story that you can't capture while reading it in the same way that you can have narrations and vice versa. I think it's more vice versa. I think that reading stories probably is better to an extent than listen to narrations. The thing is, narrations can completely grip you based off of the editing, based off of the sort of sound effects people put in, the voice acting, and there was I've legitimately thought it was transformative for years, and I still do, but not everyone agrees with that. And one of the most notable cases was the case of Slime Beast. Now, Slime Beast was an interesting one because that turned into a bigger deal than it needed to be. So Slime Beast had posted a bunch of stories to a forum, I think, and I think what ended up happening is that I don't know whether he locked it once they were narrated or whether this was before. So I think he put a paywall up on his forum, or if he didn't put a paywall up on his forum, he certainly copyrighted them. But I don't know whether he copyrighted them before. So what ended up happening is Mr. Creepasta made a bunch of videos about on Slime Beast stories. Oh god, Haunted by Disney, is that one? Something like that. Uh, yeah, there's a bunch of them. They're very good stories. But Mr. Creepasta was threatened by Slime Beast with takedown strikes, and the reason for which, and I don't even know if it was threatened with takedown strikes. I think he was actually given takedown strikes. Now, I'm not remembering this correctly in some extent, so I'm gonna say the stuff that I'm certain on. And I'll tell you, I won't correct that or say that I think it's speculation if I am certain on it. But what ended up happening is that he ended up forcing Miss Creepasta to pay him a fee for each video. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he agreed on $200 per narration. And yeah, that was resolved, I guess. The thing is that MCP didn't really make any money off of them in that regard. If there is monetization to it, because he basically paid everything back. But I don't agree. I don't agree with the idea that it isn't transformative. I understand, in the same way that reading a book maybe on a YouTube channel might be bad, but I guess I'm thinking of different rules for the internet, and there's arguments against it. But I'm very much internet Wild West Puritan sort of person because I love urban myths and stories and stuff, and I really want it to stay the same as it always has, and I know that it isn't the same as it used to be. I know that the community isn't the same as 2012. I know that the videos aren't the same as 2012 or 2011. So let's read some comments. Um, Holy shit, time flies. Yep. Jesus. Slime Beast. Yeah, we're going a ways back now. Yeah, this is back in 2014, 2015, nearabouts. I might actually tell you about the creepypasta community. I might actually be able to give you an insight. Um, Tell you what, share this around actually, this live stream. because and leave a like if you can, because I actually want to sort of I well, I thought he was paid. He was paid. I don't know. He could have just taken the videos down himself. I'm unsure. Um, but yeah, I want to talk about the creepypasta community. Now, the creepypasta community was, well, let's just say it's not something that you probably would be interested in joining. It's good when you hear about it. It's interesting when you hear about a community of narrators and like the big narrators in these group chats and stuff like that. But there was a fair amount of cronyism, I think is the term, amongst the bigger narrators. And there was a lot of shite that went on in it. And now I don't want to use the term SJW, even though like I think it is probably an adequate term. But the community was filled with people who were too sort of like who weren't used to sort of the power of moderation, um, and some people who policed it for the sake of policing it. And people got shamed in the community. People were disliked for specific reasons, and the bigger narrators were sucked up to incredibly. And it got to the point where the community felt artificial to an extent. It was full of a lot of strange people as well. I mean, a lot of strange people. We're talking people who would brag about having mental disabilities and tell me about how they have the soul of a wolf or something like that, and then go on about so many different things. And when you question it, you get shut down by other people. You have a community that's vitriolic and toxic towards each other. I got kicked out of the community for calling someone the C word. Um, and to be fair with you, they were a cunt. So I mean, I, I don't regret it. And then I was kicked out of another creepypasta community because they decided to conspire against one of my friends, Andy. Um, Now, Andy Scott is a narrator, and his creepy pasta savvy was his channel, but now he's just Savian. And what happened in this creepypasta community is that I am not going to name drop anyone, but there was someone who was doing interviews. Now my interview isn't up on the channel, thankfully, because like I was fucking 16 and I probably didn't know what I was talking about. 16, 17. Now, what ended up happening is that Andy was supposed to have an interview in that channel. And what ended up happening, and I keep saying the same thing, sorry, it's like 2 a.m. He ended up getting into sort of like an argument, I guess, with people because I was speaking to these people and they were saying bad things about my friend. And I was sort of I wasn't necessarily like agreeing with them, but I was sort of trying not to cause trouble at the time, which eventually completely changed my tone later on. Um, this is a wonderful story, actually, come to think of it. So what ended up happening, right, is Andy asked me whether he was gonna get a whether he was gonna get an interview with this person, and I said to him that it wasn't likely because I don't think they like him because of what they said in Skype calls. And what ended up happening is there was a bit of drama, and I got told by one of them that I fucked up. They said, "Oh no, dude, you fucked up," and I did not take like I listened to this and I obviously I internalized it a little bit and I didn't take it too well after retrospect because I thought to myself, I'm basically telling him the truth. So what ends up happening is that there's like arguments going in group chats with my friends and stuff, and I just eventually just get fed up with it and I just join in and start telling them that they're liars because they were liars. and that they were the toxic community. I remember the messages that I got from them. It's threatening me. Um, it's calling me so many mean words because I decided to actually tell the truth. Um, like I did stuff in the group of pasta community, and I probably was a dick to some people for whatever reason because I was a kid. But like if I'm happy with anything, it's that I don't think that I was ever too. I don't think it really affected me, to be fair. Like, because everyone was too scared of being kicked out of the creepypasta community because it would stop them getting subscribers and stuff. But I already sort of had an audience at that point. I already had my 1,000 subs. I already had my 2,000 subs. So I didn't really care too much about what these people thought because in the end, these were just people who narrated occasionally and were trying to start trouble with people that I was legit friends with. So this sort of thing happened. There was so much that happened in the community that there was some stuff which I don't know whether I'm at liberty to talk about, but there were several. There was one sex scandal, and with a big narrator, which they claimed was an imposter, but the people conducting the investigation sort of knew him. And I'm not saying anything because I don't know much about it. It probably was someone. It was probably was bullshit because, the because like I know the person who claimed. Well, I've spoken to the person who claimed it, and they weren't trustworthy. Um, but yeah, there was a lot of that going on. It was entertaining at times, but sometimes it was just the most. It was a cringe fest. All right. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna read some comments now. Hear you've been talking about me. Yeah, just a little bit. I wasn't saying it in a sort of like bad way though. I was saying that I was trying to stick up for you in the past. I wish I could hang around and chat for longer, but I got to go. Glad you're back, Creepreads. Have a good one. Sorry. Thank you. I appreciate that. To get views nowadays, you need to make a video on Jake or Logan Paul. Well, I trust you will not be doing so. The fuck, a creepypasta sex scandal. Yeah, that's exactly the sort of reaction you should have. I've heard some stories about some narrators. Like, it's just it's so funny to be fair with you, because in the end, I just realized that it's a community just full of oddballs. It really was. And like I chose my specific clique of people, and I ended up only keeping maybe about 4 people, 3 people from the community afterwards. Like the only people I ever really speak to now is, and I don't really speak to them as much as Andy, um, King Spook. Hey King Spook. Um, Stuart Schlomack and probably Black Cleric, who I message occasionally about stuff, because he's a really cool dude. Um, so I don't really like know much people from the creepypasta community anymore, and to be fair with you, I don't really have any much interest in doing so. Like I don't really see people. I don't really know whether people are still involved in it. Don't know whether there's still a narrator's chat, and if there is, I'm probably well nowadays I'd probably be more welcome to it, but I don't think I'd feel comfortable in that at all. And there, by the way, the creepypasta community, it got very like it did get really. There were points where I was just questioning the sanity of some people. Like it was just awful in some senses. I mean, I did have some really good times in the creepypasta community with some of the people that I spoke to. Had some pretty good live streams, but you take the good with the bad, I suppose. And there was a lot of bad to it. Yeah, like I said, if you got any questions, I will answer them for you, and I would like some more questions because I'm actually enjoying this so far. I'm speaking a lot better than I used to when I was on live streams. I remember stuttering on my way through them, so I'm quite happy that people are sort of like there. We've got about 9 people now. I'm quite happy. If you're enjoying the stream so far, by the way, leave a like on it and tell me what you well give me a question, I guess, or tell me what you think of my channel, or just say your own opinion about something, I suppose. Um, so I think could. I'm gonna think about something to talk about now. Uh, Past year. Okay. Oh, oh Christ! My phone says low battery, but that's not the case. The charger's just dropping out of it. Ah, but yeah. So I'm going back to university in October. Um, I first need to get evidence that I'm better, I guess. Um, but that should be interesting. I mean, I, I do like I do occasionally have thoughts of doing YouTube again. Like it does, I do have sort of like fleeting thoughts in my head about it. Like sometimes I'll be sitting down thinking, you know what, if I have my microphone right now, I'm imagining I haven't narrated in like a year and a half, but I'm thinking of what it'd be like if I was just to narrate a story right now, upload it and see whether people like it or not. And like I've had those sorts of thoughts in my head a couple of times, but they're not in my head enough for me to stick by them, unfortunately. And it doesn't help seeing the overshadow of other narrators as well, because it does feel as if I'm not really gonna get anywhere. But I've blown my chance maybe like 3 times. Um, but it never really was for me to. It really never was a thing where I really wanted to become massively famous, I guess. I think the goal that I would have liked was to make a living from it and to have like a fairly decent audience, but I don't think I could manage 1 million subscribers. Not saying I'd ever get 1 million subscribers. I mean, other channels have that have put in a lot of effort and agree past the thing. So, but I think like a good 200,000 subscribers would have been good, maybe 300. But I missed that opportunity, and some channels that put more effort took the opportunity. So, and I commend them for it. I mean, King Spook, I think, I it was doing tremendously well. Um, so hey Creep, I'm interested in making narration videos. What kind of gear editing software would you recommend? All right, well, okay, you came to the right guy. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some. Uh, nice one, Andy. Where did the feelings go when you die? I'll explain that one in a minute. All right, so in terms of microphone equipment, beginner, go for a blue snowball every time if you want something cheap. If you want something which is a USB microphone still, go for a Rode product. Which I think you can get an NT1A or something like that. I think they do USB versions of it. But if you really want a decent microphone, I would say either go XLR Rode Procaster, what I have, but that'll cost you a lot of money to get. But if you can't afford that, then go for a Rode Podcaster, which will cost you near enough £100 still. But yeah, so I'll just tell you the mics I've had over the years. So originally I used a headphone mic, a SingStar mic. Then I used a Blue Snowball afterwards. Then I used a Blue Nessie, which was alright. Though sometimes it wouldn't sound as good as my Snowball for some reason. But it was a decent microphone. I really enjoyed having it. I enjoyed narrating with it. And then I got a Rode Procaster, which was great. So I'd recommend putting in the money to get yourself a podcaster if you want proper like audio and you don't want to spend in at like in excess of £200. I mean, mate, I'll sell you my microphone if you want me to. Like, no, but yeah, no. Honestly, just look at Reddit and look at websites. I'd say that that's a good idea as well. Because I've stuck with the same thing for years now, so I can't really give too much of a good opinion on it because I have got very limited experience. But yeah, I just want to say the things that worked for me: Blue Snowball, Blue Nessie, Rode Procaster, or Rode Podcaster. All right, more comments. I need to see them coming. You're one of my favorite creepypasta readers. Please don't give up. And if you're back, I'm glad. See, these are the sorts of comments that make me really sad that I haven't narrated in a year and a half. See, Christ. I haven't got my PC currently, and I haven't got my microphone. If I was to narrate something, it'd be on my phone, but I can't edit it because I haven't got a PC. So it is a bit of a difficult one, depending on how I feel. In the next year, in the next couple of months or so, I could like try and revamp the channel in a way. If I do feel as if I want to do that, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to open up a Patreon, uh, in to some extent if I want to continue it like properly. I think because I sort of need money for university, and if I don't have if I have a job, I won't be doing YouTube. It's sort of that simple, really. Um, so yeah, Christ. See, funnily enough, my uh, my phone is running out of battery, regardless of the fact that it's plugged in. That's irritating. Well, I'll do this. Yeah. Leave me some comments. And leave a like as well if you me out in bird boxes because you know how that is. I was gonna say I still want to do a movie podcast. I have a theme. You asked me this like a long time ago, my dude. Um, so you're probably gonna have to like brainstorm it with me at some point because we haven't even like tried to progress with that. So I mean, I did like the idea of doing it, like watching the films you said, and it would have been an interesting thing to do. Um, but I mean, I'm still up for it. If you can get things sorted, I just want you to make sure that you're able to get everything like sorted before I'm able to make any commitments to it, though. Um, Basically, so yeah. But I appreciate the guest narrations on your channel, by the way. That you still allow me to do, like that one guest narration I did on your channel. With the video game type background. That was very good. I really enjoyed doing that one. Um, and I edited the full video myself. That took me a long time to do. Beat Die Sky was it? Yeah. That took me ages. I was so happy with the outcome of it though. Like it was such an interesting video to make, I think. Um, yeah, I was quite happy with Beat Die Sky. Um, how many how many views did I end up getting? Because I remember it doing decently, I think. I did another one on your channel where I did like I guest starred in one or two narrations, which did fairly successfully. So that was good as well. So yeah, I sort of miss guest starring in narrations. Like the one video which I'm actually quite proud of, which went up on Chaos X Silencer's main channel. This guy who I've watched for ages on the PTFO podcast and everything. 61,000 views is decent. But on the PTFO podcast one back in 2012, 2011, that sort of time when Yaush was about in the gaming days, um, I ended up getting a video on his channel, and then getting like 100,000 views. Now, people did accuse me of copying Creeps McPasta, which was a strange one because I don't think I sound like Creeps McPasta. I mean, we're both English, I suppose, but I mean, it, can I accuse anyone of copying someone for having the same accent? It's a bit like when what is it? It's a bit like when the striker for Colombia accused the referee who was playing in the England versus Colombia match of being biased towards England because it was American. Similar sort of thing. So I just wanted to rant about that. Creep, it was good to hear from you after such a good time. I've got to go, man. Good luck with uni. Thank you. Have a good night. Quick, accuse every English person of copying you. Probably would be a good idea. Maybe I'll go on a fucking tirade and start accusing English people of just copying everything. Everyone after. See, to be fair with you, I'm pretty sure I made my channel or I started narrating videos before Creepypasta Junior. So I mean, because I enunciate my R's sometimes, I can say he basically copied me. I mean, I'm not American, but I mean, I did make my channel before him, so I guess like I win, right? I think something like that. See, I'm moving the goalposts pretty far now. Oh, Christ. Um, yeah, like I said, leave some comments, and I'll answer them. And I, oh, I should, oh, Christ, I almost stopped streaming then. All right, yeah, yeah, ask me a question, and I'll be able to answer your questions and probably rant and go on for about 5 minutes each, probably because I'd ramble to hell. You said you left uni. I did, yeah. I'm restarting, but I've left uni for the time being, to deal with mental health based stuff, which I've sort of had to deal with for, well, since I went to uni. Um, it's, I guess it's just something I had to do before it got worse. I couldn't go into my exams, like that because I would have failed all my exams, and I was already failing coursework. So I want to do politics, but I'm probably gonna end up doing different minors, not philosophy and history. Um, Actually, here's some good news, everyone. If you're just tuning in here, I may have got myself a work experience at the House of Commons, soon, which is pretty insane. I got a response by my MP from my area saying that she would be happy to let me do work experience in her London office, and I'm thinking her London office is in the House of Commons, so I'm quite happy about that. Quite happy about that. So, and I got a job interview tomorrow, which should probably sleep for, but you know, I mean, I'll get about 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep, get myself a coffee down me, and I'll be fine. That's how it works. Um, yeah, nah. Oh, Christ, I'm getting a bit tired though. Um, yeah, just leave some. I want to see some comments, to continue the stream, and if I don't really see much, I'm probably gonna end it within the next 10 minutes, because I'm getting a bit tired. But yeah, leave me your comments, lads. Uh, see about the skiing wall. Oh, there you go. Oh God, I don't even want to say. McDonald's. I'm so desperate for work. I have got no money at all. So I need a job pretty badly. Unless any of you lads have got any jobs for me going, right? Yeah. Someone. To be fair, I should just make a Fiverr account and claim that I'm a professional voice actor, and then get people making Fiverr videos to pay me to say stupid stuff like Will and E. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Just getting a Geordie guy to make me say stupid shit for a YouTube video, but I get money, get paid for it. I should do what Big Mind Tyrone does, and just charge people like 70 quid for a 2 minute video, and say, well, I mean, I did put in a lot of effort for it, so you know what I mean. Make it premium, you know. Obviously, I would never do that in my life because although I do like getting money to buy food and stuff with, I like to think I've got somewhat of a moral compass and a bit of dignity. Just a little bit of dignity, though. Tiny bit. I did make the onion type videos, so if you understand what that means, then, well, good for you. Um, okay, I'm gonna check more comments. Where do you live now? I live back at home. Don't comment where I live in the comment section, please. But I live back in, well, you know where. Um, but yeah, no. Uh, yeah, I live back home with my dad now. So I'm here until October. And I like tenancy for my house starts in September, I think. So that'll be interesting. Well, I don't have my PC because I couldn't bring it. I couldn't bring it down here. I couldn't bring it down from up north. Um, uh, I probably haven't talked to you about what's actually happened at home recently. Like, let's just say I'm missing. Say, God. I'm trying to sort of like not make this obvious. Um, family issues have stopped me from bringing my PC down. So yeah, basically. um, but I can cope. I'll be fine. I'm just gonna use my phone. So my phone all day. Oh god, that sounds awful actually. But nah, I'm surviving. Barely. Alright. What's your scariest experience? Oh god. Taking a tab of acid and thinking I was gonna die probably is the worst one. That's probably the scariest one. Just been trying to save money. Yeah. The kids who what? I had no idea what you're talking about. Um, yeah, so I'm sort of like having. Sorry, I just completely forgot what I was saying there. Oh yeah, yeah. That was my scariest experience. Doing a tab of acid, 2 tabs of acid, and thinking I was gonna die. That was fun. Yeah, I was a bit of a moron. Um, so yeah, but you live and learn. So at least that's what I say to make myself feel better about it. So did have a, like a I did have an eye opening life experience. I mean, part of the eye opening life experience was never to do that again. But I mean, I learned something from it. I mean, as long as I learned something from it, it's a meaningful experience, right? That's the way you got to think about it. I did literally think I unlocked most of the secrets to the universe, though, and then convinced me. You get really delusional. It's quite funny. Um, tell stories of weird people you encountered growing up. Well, there was King Spook. I encountered him when I was haha, I'm very funny. Weird people I encountered growing up. Um, I don't know. I can't really think of any. I used to know a kid in Scotland, right? He was into diggers. Like he was really into digging, and he ended up. What he used to do is do you know crushed up chewing gum on the floor, like that's been stamped into the ground. He would pick it off of the ground and he would chew it. I remember this. It like quite vividly, to be fair with you. I remember what it looked like. He used to one time he used to just take shits in public. Like he was, yeah, don't even know what to say, to be fair. He was a strange kid. Don't know what he's doing now. Probably works as a builder. So I don't know. That's one of the weirdest people I knew when I lived in Glasgow. Um, at least I think so. I'm trying to think of other weird people. Um, hmm. At one time, on one of my first nights out, and this wasn't a growing up thing, but this is just weird. On one of my first nights out, I remember being outside of a nightclub, and I was speaking to someone, and me and my friends were just like, "Oh yeah, this is our first time going out," and like there's this guy who was like, "Oh yeah, I'll stick with you, and I'll make sure this is a good night," and he there's something off about him. So me and my friend were just looking at each other like, is he gonna like, what is the intention? Is he a nice guy or is he gonna like, I don't know, try and roofie me while I'm in there? It was just strange. It doesn't sound as bad when I say it like that, but it was a bit like when you actually sort of experience you know it's a sort of a situation which it's better to avoid than rather to just continue with in case of awkwardness. Let's check more comments. Creep. Damn, it's. Sorry, I didn't mean to say damn as if I was like a 17-year-old girl from SoCal. Creep. Damn, it's a long time since I last heard from you. I remember you. Yeah, I remember your name. Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been quite a long time since I uploaded last. Um, Christ. Yeah, it's been a very eventful year and a half. And in some extent, to some extent, a very uneventful year and a half as well. So I mean, yeah, it's been a year. That's what I'll say. For better or worse, anyway. Um, yeah, basically just been sitting on this live stream explaining what I've been doing. I went to university, dropped out there for health reasons, mental health reasons, and then I'm back home until October where I'm restarting first year and changing my minors to psychology and criminology. So that should be interesting. Um, so yeah, uh, yeah. Like I said, any questions? Ask me them. I'm probably gonna go keep doing this live stream until my phone threatens to die because the battery of my phone is draining faster than my phone can charge it. So um, yeah, I'll probably like have to end this in about half an hour, depending when. Yeah. So ask me some more questions, and I will be sure to answer them. This is probably like a very once in a blue moon type of situation because I'm probably gonna be quite busy over the next couple of weeks anyway. So um, took shits in public. Lol. Yeah, yeah. You say lol. It was strange. Um, I was coming to stream honestly. I don't think I can invite you to the stream. Because it's a YouTube specific one from my phone. It's not YouTube Hangouts. Um, I still haven't gone to uni. I feel like shit over it. Don't feel like shit over it. It's not as much of an experience that you'll. I don't think you'll like university personally. I mean, you'll probably like having the ability to sleep with lots of people, but but like I don't think you'll like uni. Um, it's not for everyone. Who was your worst school teacher? Oh right. Oh, by the way, leave a like in the stream if you're liking it. Not out of like my way to fish likes from people. It's out of sort of like my way to um get other people in my sub box to see it. What was my worst school teacher? All right, so I've got two. Not really. I've got one of them, and it's one I can remember not vividly, but I can remember them a little bit. So I had a Russian teacher in primary school in Scotland, and she was known for being quite harsh. She could not control a classroom, and she basically punished people for really shitty reasons. Like this is a woman who came out of the Soviet Union, so probably had that Russian might to it. But she ended up. I heard rumors about her, where she would do stuff such as lock people in cupboards, pour water over people. One time what she did in lessons. So we had this thing where we had golden time at the end of the day. The end of the Friday, and if we were in a red, for majority of the week, I think, by the end of the week or something like that, then we wouldn't get golden time. Um, and what ended up happening is one time we were doing fucking geography, I think, and she was asking us geography questions, and when we wouldn't answer them correctly, she would put us all on red. Like she put me on red for not getting a question correct. Like she put other people on it for just fucking not knowing the answers to a question. Like something that she probably didn't really teach us that well. But then again, Mr. Taylor, Mr. Taylor out of my high school as well. He wasn't a real teacher. He was a supply teacher, sports teacher. One of the people that was very cozy with the popular kids. You know, was dating the most attractive teacher in the school, who's my art teacher. Um, and yeah, I think it was Mr. Taylor. What ended up happening with him is that he gave us worksheets, and he was basically telling us that we couldn't leave until we had done them. And he didn't like me very much. And he was just a prick. Like I just remember him being like the type of prick that I like if I met him now, I would think he was an absolute wanker. Like he was probably the sort of person that I probably meet in a nightclub and not want to speak to. God, I hope he isn't watching, which in low likeliness he isn't. But in class, he one time gave us a sheet of paper, got us to do all the, said we couldn't leave until we'd done all the questions, and I didn't fucking know the answers to the questions, so I ended up arguing with him and just leaving. And my actual teacher the next day did not tell me off for it. He just pulled me aside and said if I've got any problems about stuff, I should just go to him to speak to it. I was to go to the teacher to speak to him about it. And from that point on, like, I guess I sort of like had a newfound respect for the teacher because like from the tone that he gave it, it was more of a like, I understand what you mean. Just you need to go to another teacher if you're having issues. Don't just don't answer back to him because it's not gonna help you, which is a life lesson. So thank you, Mister. Can't even remember his goddamn name. I remember the supply teacher's name, but I can't remember the other one. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. The douchiest teacher I had was a guy who suspended me for recording his performance of my poem and posting it on my Facebook. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. What? That sounds quite funny, to be fair. It sounds like the most sort of millennial type of thing, though. Like the most millennial type of like high school problem. So I don't know. Oh shit! Sorry, I dropped my phone. Um, yeah, it sounds like quite a millennial type of high school problem. Um, but yeah, leave some more questions. I want to answer them. I think we're going strong currently. Uh, I'm quite happy with the amount of views we've got. Ignore all this stuff. This is my little brother's stuff from his old room because I don't actually have a room here. Um, yeah, here are my shoes. Here's a little insight into my life now. You get to see my shoes. Ooh, lad. These are not what I'm wearing tomorrow to the job interview. You know what I should do? I should just like keep it on this for a lot of time because it's a little Funko Pop. I mean, to be fair with you, these are probably the best ones you can get because they don't have obnoxiously large heads, which can sometimes be a bit annoying. Yeah. Oh, the better thing is that he had cancer and survived, yet took his shit so seriously, knowing how precious life is. His bolt. Oh my god. Not gonna read that. uh, I kind of forgot what your YouTube comments are like. Is if they want to sort of get in contact with me, easiest way to do so is oh, is it, what is it? It's either FTW Vegas or it's Creepreads. I think it might be FTW Vegas. Um, or it might be Creepreads, one of them. Um, yeah, that I've just found out is on the floor. My little brother has an annoying orange super interactive annual. This is this is this looks like this is gonna be awful. Yeah, no, none of that. Um, yeah. So I'm probably gonna end this stream now. So if you enjoyed watching it, thank you. I'm trying to do the whole hand movement thing. Like I'm trying to like don't want to do a face reveal. So, but like yeah. If you enjoyed watching the stream, then I would suggest going to my Twitter, which is probably if you Twitter and tweet, then Twitter and tweet at Twitter and tweet. Um, which is at FTW. It's on my YouTube somewhere. Another Creepreads video. God, that's weird to say. Um, thanks for watching and ah. thanks everyone for stopping by. It's helped with my night because I've not had a good one, basically. But I need to sleep because I got a job interview in the morning. So thank you. All right, I'll see you later. Have a good night.